All right. Let me turn this down just a touch. Hopefully that's a little bit better. And we're back. It's been a little bit. We've made some decent progress. I think this is number 8. Yeah, session 8. But I've done quite a bit between now and the last session. The big thing is I did the second garage. I'll show you in just a minute, but I did the second level of the garage. The parking garage that connects to... hey, man. That connects to the defender's base. I'm trying to figure out how to update the thumbnail, because I have a thumbnail made. There we go. Finally caught a live stream. Hey, man. Thanks for joining. Okay. Got that updated. Alright, so here's where we're at. Let me go back to player mode and show you guys what we got going on up here. You know what? Let me actually... like all my stuff working. Jeez. Let me build out the map for you so you can take a look. Interesting. Okay, so this garage here. Let me move to the same spot in the original. Right about there. Yeah, looking pretty good, huh? Right? Now, keep in mind, my field of view in Halo Infinite's a lot broader than what it is in MCC. So you're seeing more of the map, but scaling-wise, it's not that much bigger. Trying to get my dumb headset to work. Whatever. Okay, this is why they kind of nice things. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so let's take a look at the garage, see what we got going on there. I also did some work on the materials. You could probably see a little bit there. What's interesting is I'm finding myself leaning more on simplified Forerunner textures, because that's actually the human futuristic cityscape texture. It looks more like it. What we in the modern Halo interpret as like Forerunner. In like Halo 2, you'd look at some of their buildings and textures and infrastructure, and you might classify that as like more of a Forerunner aesthetic. But so I'm definitely going for Halo 2's interpretation of a you know, what a futuristic human city would look like. But yeah, so I got all these beams done. That was a lot of work. And, okay, I'm really proud of these. Real quick, let me just brag a little bit here. So these pillars here, I managed to basically really kind of nail them. Like, they're pretty dang spot on. Let me hop out of this real quick. So obviously I got to do a little bit of work around the trim to get that right. But look, we got part of a cone here. Flat triangle, flat rectangle, and then not a cone, but half of a cylinder. It's actually a ring. They don't have cylinders, just rings. And then another cone there. And then another flat triangle, and then a trapezoid. And with all those combined, I mean, that is the shape. That is it. It's flat, then curved. It's got a bit of a base, which I didn't include on mine. I did have a base originally, but it made it too scrunched. Again, it goes back to I'm scaling things really laterally, but not really scaling the height that much because I don't really need to. So it makes for some funky things where you have a situation where if you're really true to form, then it's not gonna look quite right. So I feel like it looked better without the base to have more of a vertical pillar look than to have them basically almost meet in the middle. Anyway, that was my opinion on it. But yeah, so I'm really happy with the way these have turned out. They're obviously more piece heavy to do so many of them, but they're simple geometry. I feel like it was important to get right. Working on this here. Ignore the Z fighting. Second floor, same deal. Got the pillars in. Man, there's so much I haven't shown you guys. So there's this pathway here. It leads into here. And then this is new. This wasn't there in the original game. And this leads to the first floor. So now this will actually be usable space. This is actually blocked off up to like the second pillar, if you look. It's just a concrete block. It makes no sense. And I think they did that because that space is just not used for anything. Even they could have blocked it off to here. Even this space isn't used for anything. So they just blocked it off to make it not just wasted space, I guess. I actually want to use it again because this is going to be 12v12 and not 8v8. I need real estate. I need space for people to exist in. And that was a very easy addition. It doesn't change the layout of the map. It just adds on, additional floor space for people to travel through. But it's, from a gameplay perspective, it's not, doesn't actually really add any usable space because there's no reason to go over there. Well, if you did have another route into the base from over here, that could be a reason to go over there. Right? That's the idea. So this is kind of what I'm doing. I could have done the easy route and just walled it off here, but I like giving the impression that there's a broader world outside of the map, right? So it would make sense that there's more of the garage here than just what you're seeing, but the UNSC has locked it down, and this is like a checkpoint or a storage area because there's a Covenant human war going on outside this terminal. So it makes sense, kind of follows the lore that we're establishing for the map, right? This is like immediately following the Covenant invasion of Earth. You would assume Master Chief's around here nearby somewhere, fighting in the outskirts or in Metropolis, boarding a Scarab maybe. Like that's going on at the same time. So the space elevator is still standing. So if you look out there, you'll see the space elevator. But the Covenant are here. So it's a very brief window we're working with here. So anyway, that's the idea. I could have done the easy thing and just walled it off, but I like giving the impression that there's more to this world than just the immediate map you're in, Anyway, that's the idea. So yeah, here I also did some more work here. As I said, I've done some texture work, so I've settled on what I'm liking as far as textures are concerned. Now, keep in mind, again with the map, it's fairly uniform in the original map. Like you've got these like gray blue metal textures, and then concrete. It's just gray blue metal and concrete everywhere. And I wanted to do a little bit more than that. I wanted to visually differentiate the map a little bit without like going too far. So I think the station, I'm having a more clean, presentable, I guess, more modern look. But then as you leave the station and get into like the true city area, things are less polished, a little grimier, more use of concrete, less like tile floors and things. Okay, you're probably going to like this. I didn't want this to be just a giant wall, right? I need to have some sort of something breaking it up, right? So I added these little indents so I could put pictures or plants or flowers in them, right? So it looks fairly, like each one's different, but they look like they all belong. Well, watch this one right here. Okay, watch that. If I'm here, so just so we're keeping track of where I am. We're in the station. Go around this way. Go down, right? Behind this picture is that right there. I didn't want to have a direct route right there, but I wanted to... I mean, it was so close. There's just a wall between them. I kind of wanted to have something, you know? Because you can't reach the whole base, but you can at least put some fire in there as you're attacking. Maybe distract them or something. And then the defenders, of course, they have the option of just, like, throwing grenades in, right? Just nading the crap out of that hallway. And it's a cramped hallway, so not the kind of place you want to have grenades thrown at you. I don't know. I was excited about that. Like, I know it's something super stupid to get excited about, but anyway. Yeah, the vent is something I'm going to use. You're not normally supposed to be up this high, but this is where that third floor is. So if you look on the original one, up in there, there's a very small third floor that's basically just used as a spawn point for the defenders. I never really liked that idea. I would like that area to be accessible, but accessible in a way that it's not along the path to get to the base. I don't want the attacking team to be able to just get in there easily. I want them to have to go to the defender's base and then have to work back to it. Now that I think of it, I might have to nerf it a little bit. Because if they steal the flag, they can bounce right up there. I'll have to think about that more. Anyway, so pretend I'm in the third floor here. There's these two openings, right? If you look, I don't have a flashlight in multiplayer, but if you look, there's like a grate there and right there. There isn't actually a grate on this one. If I throw a grenade up there, you can see there's no grate. I like the idea of having a grate, but the option to destroy it and break through. And I'm also going to add, there's another one of my little, just tiny additions that I feel are necessary now that I'm scaling the map up a little bit. When you're clear over here, you can jump on this, but there's never been like a real advantage to that. There's just such a bottleneck up this ramp. I kind of want to add something, like another avenue to get to that floor. That's not... It's not obvious, it's not easy, you can't bring a vehicle through it, but it's just another way people could come. So you have to kind of keep your head on a swivel if you're the defenders. I thought about adding a little vent in the ceiling right here, so you could break the vent and jump through. Or go down, or use it to go down, for example. So you bust through, and then I'd be standing on, right here would be where I am right here as you fall through. I don't know, just little stuff like that. But yeah, really the big thing is doing so much of this garage was really what I accomplished. Yeah, I think that'll be the next thing, is just finishing up the garage. As I said, I added some texture. I'm really happy with the texture I landed on because it looks metallic. It is technically Forerunner, but it's pretty simple texture. You know, it's not inherently Forerunner, but again, it's Halo 2's interpretation of human civilization in the future. I also added scratches, and since this piece is so stretched, it's like a 2 units wide by 200 units long. Because it's so stretched, these scratching textures actually look like scratches, which would make sense. You have a train running along it. Even if it hovers or whatever locomotive technology it's using, you would assume along the surface that it's using to transport, you would get scuffs and scrapes in a linear direction parallel to the direction of the car, right? So you'd have occasional marks, you know, along the track, all going in that direction. So I wanted to get that on there. And so, yeah, I was happy with the way that settled. So it's like this double-edged sword because you have so much flexibility with textures and grime. Here's the thing. Textures, they don't scale, but they continue to grow across the entire surface of a piece of geometry, right? So for this building, for example, this isn't actually a building. This is, I could probably even show you what piece it is. It's one of these little pieces out there. It's like a generator or something. But I scaled up to look like a building because you're only going to see like this little piece of it. And I thought these columns looked pretty interesting. So if you look down here, this is meant to be like an alleyway. And again, this goes back to the idea that you are in a real, living, breathing city. That this terminal space doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is going on in a broader city that has stuff going on. So this is just a blank wall, you know. It's got these like kind of divots in it, but there's nothing interesting going on there. And I'm also cognizant of the fact that I don't necessarily need something interesting to be going on in every single corner of the map. But again, right now there's just nothing going on here. Like there's just nothing, you know. So I thought, what if we make a little, you know, a little alleyway? Not that you can get over there, not that you can do anything with it, but just to see, you know. Imagine there's going to be a building here and a building here, so you're really only going to be able to see like here to here. And I already have it, you know, partially, you know, foggy, which is motivated by that vent right there, even though those are two different elements. Anyway, like I was saying, the texture on that will grow as, well, not grow, but it will multiply. So there's what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns of this texture I'm using. If I grew it bigger, if I doubled it in width, there'd be like roughly 18 columns of the texture. It just continues to increase the number as you make it bigger. Grime does not work the same way. Grime scales with the same aspect ratio of the 3D piece of geometry, which is how I was able to get the scratch marks on those, because I used grime for that, to give the impression of scratches moving in, you know, that direction. And I could also tell something whether or not it's whether or not it's metal, and tell it to be a certain amount of reflectiveness. And I may bring down the reflectivity of this, actually, now that I'm looking at it. I am looking directly where the sun is being reflected, though, so I guess that's fair. But anyway, that's about it. That's about what I accomplished. I'm pretty happy with it. It is fun when the map gets to a point where you can like walk around the whole thing and really picture what's not there. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you real quick. Let me think. So you could probably see it. There's my... I wanted to make like a Hotel Zanzibar sign. So if I go back to Forge mode, you can see Hotel Zanzibar. A couple issues I found. First, the textures don't work on everything. So the texture I picked for that is called emissive, which, as you could assume, the name implies, it actually gives off light, and I can choose what light I want it to be. I thought just a flat, like white light would be good. And I like the look of it, but for some reason, these cylinder pieces do not adopt a new texture. Doesn't matter what texture it is, not just emissive, anything. They just don't accept it. They stay this default, like, kind of concrete-looking texture. They don't change. This would look much better if those were white, because you wouldn't even see... Because they're giving off light, you don't see the seams at all. Like, at all. So you wouldn't see a circle there. It would just look like a rounded corner, which really... Is it in the MP pieces? No, I don't think so. That would be a really silly mistake if it was. Now, the MP pieces won't even let me change the texture. It's just not an option. This lets me. So that leads me to believe that it's not. Yeah, I know MP versions can't be retextured. So, but usually it doesn't even let you. Let's see. Primitive cylinder, yeah. The other issue I run into... Whoops. The other issue I run into... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is depending on how big something is, it will disappear from your vision as you move away from it. And that is to save resources, because I think they rightfully assume a tiny little cylinder piece, when you move far enough away, isn't going to be missed if it disappears. Now, the problem is if you're using it as part of a piece that is being used to like spell, and it's going to be up on a billboard far away, you can see, and this isn't just while I'm in monitor edit mode, this happens also as I'm a human. You can see those cylinders, you can see them popping in and out. And then it gets worse as I move further away. The smaller rectangles I'm using start to disappear. Like on the B, you'll see it disappear. See, there's one. There's more. You see them really starting to disappear. So it kind of ruins the effect if you're coming around the corner and the sign is like slowly coming into view. So the way around that, obviously, is to increase the size of it. If I want to stick with the sign ID, it's a lot of effort to go through just to make one sign, but I feel like it was cool to make a nod to, like, oh yeah, this is in the general vicinity of Hotel Zanzibar, which exists in this universe at this time. So it was an obvious thing to try to nod to, and I already had hotel as a sign, so I was like, cool, I'll make Zanzibar. But anyway, experimenting with that led me to some of these discoveries about the certain thresholds where things start to disappear. So if I want these to... Now, obviously, if I'm on this far side of the map, it doesn't actually matter because it's not in your field of view. But wherever I put it, I need to make sure that it's big enough that if it's going to be seen by the player space, the play space, that the pieces are going to remain visible. I also found that the ratio of piece size to where it disappears is not linear. What I mean by that is if I in my overall field of view, right now the cylinder is relatively small. Let's say it disappeared here. Let's say I increased the cylinder diameter by 10. That would mean I have to go back out to like here, and it would take up the same amount of my field of view. It would look the same size on my screen, here versus here, if it were 10 times bigger. And where it might disappear here, it doesn't disappear here. The bigger it is, obviously, the further you are for it to disappear, but it also gives you additional leniency. So scaling it bigger is going to have a greater than linear impact on how far away I can be from it. So I don't need to make the sign enormous. I just need to find the threshold for the smallest piece I plan to use and then scale the sign from that piece outward. I don't know if that made any sense at all. I'm also going to have to just ditch the cylinders anyway because the cylinders are going to be the smallest piece, and if I can eliminate those from the equation, then I can not have to make the sign as big. But then I'll have to not have rounded corners, which sucks. That sucks. But if you look at the original Hotel Zanzibar sign, it's not on here, but they didn't have rounded corners. It's based on field of view. That's what I thought, but it almost seems like the field of view, the amount of space it's taking up, it seems like it wasn't linear. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just crazy. But anyway, what I want to accomplish today, before I did these on the ceiling up here, I wanted to mess with it down here. I also wanted to settle on what I wanted to do in this space. So if you look in Halo 2, if I go up to the second floor, you see where these pillars are, or not pillars, but these supports that run along the top. Right on the center of one of those is the deviation that separates these two. So you basically have a light that sits right between them, which makes it really easy for me to know where to put it. Well, if you look, mine's not really lined up with that. Now, that's where I put the vent for now. I'd have one vent. It'd actually be a little bit more to the right and then one to the left. But that's too far over. That's way too much space up here. Like you'd have from here, like clear to way over here on that third floor. And that's way too much space. If you look, this pillar is supposed to actually be really close to this wall. Like look at the space here. See that? Look at the amount of space there is here. The reason for that is, again, it goes back to scaling. The size I made this distance here was based off the width of the road. And I used the same width for those two there, which looked about right in the Halo 2 map. It looked like the road distance between these two pillars should be the same there and same there. You know, it's a little bit smaller there, but then the same there. You know, they should be roughly evenly spaced. So I have a choice to make. I either leave it like it is and I don't use the pillars as my starting point, or I do use pillars as my starting point, and maybe that third floor now becomes more usable space. Maybe. I am looking for more opportunities to use space, but I feel like that third floor is already kind of overpowered as it is. Or I just say, whatever, the vents don't have to line up with that support beam. You can put it here where it's supposed to be and not worry about that. Or I move, instead of having these spaced out properly, I space them out more so that there's a little bit more space. Maybe this pillar lines up here, and this pillar now lines up where it's supposed to here. That seems like the simplest solution. And then I can line that up the way it's supposed to be. Or if I add another pillar here that's about the same distance, that will be right about where it needs to be. Actually, it would kind of line up with this wall. So even then, I'd have to do a little trickery, like move these a little bit closer together and then put it right there. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on what to do. The easiest thing would be to leave it alone, as long as there wasn't a good reason to move those pillars closer. Oh, but there could be. Because if you go back and look at Halo 2, I really wish I could confidently die and respawn up there. I guess it doesn't really impact the gameplay of it. Yeah. That pillar there lines up with like that middle window, kind of between those two windows, it looks like. No, like the middle window. Yeah, basically the middle window. It would basically line up here now, like next to that third window. I don't know. I don't feel like it matters where the pillars are. So if that's the direction I want to go, I kind of have to commit, because now I need to take these supports that I put down here and I have to put them up top now. And then I'm kind of set. You know? So that's my dilemma. Do I adjust the pillars to get them to line up with the vent? Or do I just place the vent where I want the vent? And actually, you know what? This might actually be settled for me now that I think about it, because excuse me. It helps to talk through this stuff. Since I want this to be dynamic, I want you to be able to shoot it and fall through it, right? I don't have any say in how big or how tall it is. So I intentionally made these floors, each of these, the height of this vent, so that the vent could sit flush on either side. So I actually don't have a lot of control on how high it can be, which means I may actually need it to be not on a pillar anyway. Although the way this is laid out, it may not matter. Yeah, see, there's like a cutout. It's really funky when you look at it. It's just a very weird geometry. You know what I might do? Because it comes down. Maybe this last pillar maybe this last pillar, I'll just carry that distance across. You know what I mean? I think that's actually what I'll do. And then just like this, it will be a square cutout. That's going to be a lot of pieces to get that cut out. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so I'm settled on that. Now I need to kind of polish this up. Is there another support across there that I'm missing? No, it goes clear from this support to the very edge. So we're good there. I was just going to close this off a little bit. So I was going to go, let's see, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we're a little too far. Although that lines up with that pretty nicely. I want it lined up with... What am I trying to accomplish here? Let me think. What would be the most efficient way to lay this out? Because keep in mind, I want to keep a square hole right around there. Maybe I shouldn't worry about that just yet. That's the impression I'm getting. Just don't worry about it yet. Then go over 4 or 2. Oh yeah, this is like... I had to be off my tenths grid for this to get it to line up with that, like right on the flat spot. So I think that's about as good as we're gonna get it. So I want the floor to remain on the grid. Yeah, I think this triangle and this rectangle are just gonna have to overlap a little bit, which is fine. So if I move it over, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I need to make it smaller by 0.5. Okay. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then make it smaller by 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go 2 more. Move it 1 more over. Okay, let's see where that lines up. That should still be lined up with this wall. No. Okay, I'm retarded. Let's think. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's still lined up there. And then move it over to now. I think this will be just barely shy. Nope, but if I make it 1 unit smaller, and I can move it that way 1. It's going to be barely shy. Yeah. Okay, I'm fine with that for now. Nope, that's good. Right there. Cool. All right. Yeah, let me finish this spot right here. You know what? I don't really need to, and I'm not 100% sure where this vent needs to be, and determining where this vent needs to be will ultimately decide what kind of geometry layout I need up here. So I'm just going to move on, and I should be able to actually I can reuse these 3. Honestly, I'm going to have to update this one, but that's fine. I wish when you duplicated something, it would retain 2 of the 3 position coordinates. You know what I mean? Because it's really annoying that it kind of just puts it in a random place every time. Okay. Alright, and that is 17120. This needs to be 120. Okay, that looks good. And height is going to be different, but I should line up with these seams pretty perfectly. Yep. Oh, this ceiling's not really tall enough, huh? Wait a second. Oh, no. This needs to be lower. This needs to be lined up with this. There we go. There. Now if I go down here, it should look about the same. Yep. That's lined up with the pillar. Okay, cool. Cool. So same deal with this guy. Go right there. And this one is at 215 on the dot. And vertical needs to be 67430. All right, quick sanity check. Uh-oh. Yeah, looks good. And welcome to those of you that have been joining in. We are forging Terminal from Halo 2. Right now working on the... I mean, I call it the Defender's Garage, but it's kind of no man's land, you know? 67430. All right. And it needs to be at 258.8. All right, I just gotta get the height. Oh, actually, that looked good. Yeah, that's good. Cool. Yeah, looks good. Now I can reuse this one. I'm having also another like route up here, but you shouldn't be able to see more than really that. I'm gonna have the boxes kind of come in front of them. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do with it just yet. I guess I'll add one more. It's not like it's adding a lot to the budget. Just in case you want to peer down here and get a look. I'll go from this side. Where did it go? Oh. See? It duplicated it, and it like sent it off in the middle of nowhere and deselected it. You know how unhelpful that is? Jeez. Hey, Joe. Yeah, it is. It's come along pretty good. I was going to do some simple like pillars here, but I was like, you know what? I was looking at these pillars in Halo 2, and I was like, I think I have all the primitive shapes needed to pull that off. So it's not perfectly square or round like these. I haven't done these middle ones yet, but these outside ones at least. It's just a trapezoid there. It's a rectangle here, a triangle here, a rectangle there, then a cone here, a ring here, or a cylinder, and a ring or cylinder there. And I'm like, I have all the primitives I need to pull that off. And yeah, actually really helped because it helped me parameterize where the like floor and ceiling need to be. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way those turned out. All right, I'm doing one more of these full length ones just in case someone decides to peer over there. Get a look-see. All right, as soon as I finish these pillars, Joe, I'll show you what else I've been working on. Vertical I can ignore. 30260. That's good. Alright. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll have boxes here so you can't even get that close to see it anyway. That's kind of what I was picturing, is like UNSC storage boxes with like a tarp over it. I think that would look cool. Alright, now I'm just going to use these shorter ones for the rest of this. Interesting. This one's like piece is set on. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna change that. I'm going to change that to that one. There we go. Now that's the parent. Discovering you could do that was pretty big for me. It was like literally the last time I forged, you could change what parent object you want without having to unhook them all, ungroup them all, and then because whatever object you pick first is the parent in a prefab by default, which makes sense. This one is horizontal 338. Horizontal 338 on the nose. That's good. All right, got one more. Hey, it's coming together. Looking good. You know what, I'm just going to duplicate this one. I could also go off this. Oh. Oh, yeah, I guess that still works. This is still the alpha. 3786. 3786. 3743. And then basically just push this over until it lines up. Beautiful thing about using right angles. If you hold the duplicate command keys while moving your cursor in a direction, you want to duplicate next to the current. Oh, no joke. Let's see. I want to try that. Okay. If you hold the duplicate command keys while moving your cursor in the direction. Okay. No, wait. Let me see that. Let me see. Oh, I could pick where it goes. I mean, that's better. That's definitely better. I can at least pick where it's going to go. It can snap too. Can I turn on magnets while I'm duplicating? No. That's too many things. But I did turn on magnets. Let's see. That's pretty cool. I think more what I was thinking. That's helpful. Thank you for that. More what I was thinking was it would... No, don't use magnets. Okay. Like duplicate immediately next to it. So that way its Z coordinate and its X coordinate were still identical. It was just the Y that was different. Or if it popped above it or the other side or directly beneath it. It does. Okay, maybe I'll move it away from these other pieces. Let me see. Let me just do this. I mean, I can move it, but it's not really snapping. Or is that a setting? I mean, I can manually myself get it close. It's really touchy. I can get it somewhat close, but it's still not going to be... I'm still going to have to go in there and modify it, you know. I'll take your word for it. I'm probably not doing it right. It looks like it's keeping the... It's keeping the X coordinate, though. You see that? It's only when I if I touch it, it keeps the X coordinate. So at least there's that. And if I touch the front first, yeah, I don't know. Still helpful though. Thank you. Oh, all right, Joe. Well, if you're still there, I'm gonna show you real quick what I've been working on. Yeah, I haven't quite figured out the vehicle spawns, if you guys haven't noticed. It still spawns random stuff, and I'm hoping, like, in an actual game, it spawns what I told it to spawn. Alright, Joe, so you have your... attackers coming up this ramp. And then you have your defenders. But obviously, you wouldn't normally be able to jump over that. There should be a wall there. You have all this stuff on the wall. This painting here, you could actually shoot through. You can actually shoot through that. So if you're attacking, you can't jump through it. You can't grapple through it. But you can shoot through it. And, of course, you could throw grenades through it. Like if you're the defender, you could toss some grenades in there. And that would be real bad news because you don't have a whole lot of space to get away from them. So same with the vents up here. You should be able to crash through these vents. Okay. Looking good. Thanks, man. Did you keep the plants at the AC condenser? I sure did. I haven't done anything with them yet. I like them. I'm going to definitely stick with this idea. I may change the execution a little bit, but overall I like that this is now a motivated puddle. You guys don't know like how literally kept me up at night about that puddle and having to move my entire map and the headache that would be. Yeah, I'm happy about that too. So I may adjust it, but the idea, there will be an AC condenser leak or condensation that is causing a puddle. Okay, so these should be the same height, and these rest directly on top of these. So I know now exactly what the height of my... I think I just put this here without like actually sizing it or anything. I don't think there's any special reasoning for this one piece up here. As fun as it would be to add like a whole third floor, I just don't think like... Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. That's too much garage. So maybe if we go about there. And then the other one would be... Oh, wait. I'm going to use your trick. I'm going to use your trick here. Duplicate. Hey! Okay. Maybe it just depends on the piece. Because I got it to do it right there. Thank you. That is super helpful. Maybe it doesn't work as well with a prefab. I don't know. Alright, I'm actually gonna... Man. What direction do I want to go with this? Is there a motivation behind where I want these to be? Not particularly. Where do they line up here? That's the better question. And is there a reason for where they line up? They line up pretty much with that door. The edge of them, this leading edge, lines up with the right side of this exit door. That exit door leads out into the right that overlooks like the trash pickup area. There's like dumpsters and stuff over here. What I love is there's actually, this is before I thought of my like AC vent up to the top. There is actually like AC vents here, you know. Although I was thinking of putting it either on this wall, but more likely down here. So you have to make it clear into their base to go up through there. And this door is fairly close to this wall. I'd say it's about a warthog's width. And looking down this garage too, I'm going to have to do... Normally this is just empty. It's weird to have a dev map that just has nothing. So I think I'm going to populate it with some cars. Maybe some UNSC surplus storage. Mostly cars. Anyway. These doorways are fairly narrow. Do I want to keep the narrow doorways? I feel like that kind of gives it some of its charm, you know? I think they need to come over just a touch. Where are we at? Why is that not cooperating? Oh, it is. It's just too tall. Yeah, looks pretty much lined up. All right, and then these have to be lined up here. Not sure how these got slightly misaligned, but okay. 680 looks good. 623 is good. Have it covered by 1/10. I think that'd be good. You know what? Better make it 2/10. Yeah. One 618. I'll put this at 1518. That's too close. I'll do 1418. That's too far. Okay. I think right about there. 4, 6, 8. That's good. Looking good. I think they're actually closer together than that. Yeah. That actually seems pretty good. I'll just leave it like that. Alright, make this bigger. So yeah, like 160. Nope, way too big. You know what? I can tell you exactly how big it needs to be. Oh yeah, it doesn't tell me. Ungroup that, see how long that is. It is 145. Group it back together. Have this 145. And then, okay. Okay, Okay, so you did nothing. Okay, thanks for that, I guess. I was wondering how that was lining up, but it was an odd 10th. Oh, this needs to be taller now. I hope I don't get any lighting artifacts between these cracks. We'll find out, huh? All right. Hey, it's starting to look and feel like an actual garage. Occasionally I'll be working on it for a while and I'll look around and be like, holy crap. It's actually looking pretty good. Like, I'll zoom out and be like, oh, geez, yeah, that park garage actually looks really cool. All right, what should I prioritize next? I kind of feel like if I focus on this corner piece, that's going to be relatively slow going, so I apologize for that. But yeah, if I do this corner piece, I think once I have this ramp here and the size of this wall and this wall, I'll be able to better parameterize where I need the little toll booth looking thing, which will tell me where this vent needs to go, which will tell me how I have to lay out this geometry up here. So let's do that. Let's figure out where this ramp is. I think I can get away with just reusing this one, even though it's not actually a road piece. It's a road piece going, I'm calling this east and west, that we're looking at right now. It's not a road piece here. Here, it's literally the most basic looking triangle. Like, nothing interesting going on. And also, what car, besides like a hyper lifted truck, would even be able to go up that without bottoming out on that corner right there? Maybe it doesn't look like much because you're in an old first person shooter, but any of the cars you see in here would not make it over that. So I don't know. There's things that like it just doesn't matter. You don't notice in the old version of the game, but in the new version in Halo Infinite, there's a heightened sense of realism that kind of stuff sticks out now. It could just be me, but I feel like it does. Like it some things you could just get away with because the game was just more basic and you didn't notice that, but now you do. Like, it looks weird. That's why I rounded this corner here. I didn't have to. I could have easily let the triangle just meet up right there, but instead I added an eighth of a cylinder right here and had to get the diameter just right so that it met up flat with this piece, which actually needs to come over. Look at that, and then lines up flat with that piece. This actually looks off too. What happened here? It looks like no, that's good. Maybe that was good too. Oh, it's the coordinates that are off. No, is it the size that's off? Something's off because this is not lining up. You see that? Maybe it needs to be like a unit wider. Yeah, that was it. Or maybe this is right, this is wrong. Yes, there we go. Ha-ha! Much better. Oh, gosh. I'm like literally so happy it lines up so well everywhere now. Anyway. I kind of feel like there's an opportunity here to create some heightened realism by making this a road piece and like making that angle less steep. I think they probably did that to not have the ramp come out as far. But we have more. We can go out as far as we want. You know, this is our map. Like, we can do whatever we want. I don't want to make it crazy, but we have the flexibility, is what I'm saying. I'm gonna go to the worlds and rotation. No, tools. There we go. Origin's good, but we're gonna do world. Cool. I will concede that I probably have to get rid of this flat piece at the top. That's gonna stick out too far for sure. There's like a mound here that covers it. That makes up the difference. I think I'll have to get rid of this top piece and then angle this a little bit more. It's still not going to be as aggressive as an angle, but I think it'll be better. And then let's line it up. Let's make that the parent object. Magnets are just doing their magnet thing, you know, where they just don't work. Yeah, they're just not doing anything. Magnets need a lot of work in this game. I should probably figure out laterally where this lines up. Oh, interesting. It overlaps that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So basically this wall is just going to continue over here. Might have a little bit of trim. I think I'll have a little bit of trim to cover the gutters, basically. Like what I have here. Like a little bit of a rounded edge, or like more of a hexagon edge. A lot of hexagons in Halo 2, I'm noticing. A lot of hexagons. Like everything's a hexagon. Yeah, little rounded edge there, little flourish. Lines up like exactly with what? This flat piece, and this comes in. This is like my standard like 4-unit wide wall, I think. This seems thicker. That is thicker. And there's no flat piece here, it just ends. And yeah, that looks like a pretty confident 45-degree angle right there. So I'm good to use this triangle. This is a right triangle. So I can follow this edge right here. Okay, let me think. I think about this. This needs to come out more. And this needs to come out more. The wall is going to follow this. And then it's going to need space there. So I need to make it... I'm going to go ahead and call it... Well, you know what? I could tell you exactly how big I need to make it. What does it look like on the side? I think it just ends. It looks weird. Yeah, it just ends. They were like, whatever. That's too hard to match up with something. Let's just call it a day and just end it. Like, I guess I could do that. Now, what shape does this need to be? This needs to be a... It needs to be a rectangle that has another rectangle that meets up with it exactly. Okay. Alright, I hope y'all are paying attention. Okay. This piece here could work. Just, you know what? Here, I'll just duplicate it. That piece. Now you can see what makes up this pillar. I'm just going to do it piece by piece. Alright. And it still looks like 4 units. Now, mathematically, I'm trying to figure out if that should make sense or not. If it's a right triangle. or what percentage it should be. How far in does it go? Let's see. It meets up at the ground exactly where this does. So that's a nice... It's a nice like landmark for us, I guess. All right, the origin's down here, so we can get right up against there. Find out exactly where this needs to be. Yep, right there. Okay, so we have that down. And it needs to go, I'd say, not quite halfway across. And then over 3. That looks good. That gets us 6 by 6. Okay, I'm fine with that. Wait. There we go. Yep, that looks good. And there's just enough room here to kind of sneak in and out, which is pretty much exactly what you're dealing with here. Now, can you just jump up those, the thing? No, you cannot. Interesting. I mean, could you do it this side? I think I need to add a little bit more of that dirt, like the like more high texture dirt here to increase the elevation there, so you can jump up there. And then does this follow the whole way up? It does, at least until that one. Then I can use a flat piece at the top. So at least to there. So that's what? 30s? No. Oh, and the flat piece ends with the end of this. Interesting. I guess that does give a little bit more of a reason for it to be there. All right, so let's bring this down to, I usually do 610 for this. Yeah, I'll do 610. And then up to 60. 60? 62? It needs to go the whole way. So yeah, like 72. Okay, cool. Now these need to come out. So it needs to go over. So that means more negative on Y. So 393.6 needs to become 397.8. Yep. All right. And now this needs to be made a little bit bigger. What? 10. It was 18, right? So it needs to be 4.2. 4.2 bigger. Hey, look at that. Look how good that looks. 4.2 bigger. So if this is 4.2 bigger, that's 0.2, right? If I turn on magnets, will you work for me? They will. Look at that. Very cool. And that lines up with that. That does not, but it doesn't really matter because there will be a wall there anyway. Okay, that looks good. For these, I also need to make these 4.2 longer. So this needs to go over by 4.2, which would get us to 7.8 and a length of 4.2 would be 72.4. Right? Or am I dumb? Yeah, looks right. Alright, this, we're just going to make it 4.2 bigger, 72.4. And then position this there. And then this is the last one. I'll have to remove this as a prefab. And it needs to go over 4.2. Yes, we can make it bigger first. Then move it over 4.2, so 7.8. Same deal with this. Bigger by 4.2, 72.4. All right. That's pretty good. That doesn't actually need to go up that high. You can go to like 64, 62. It does actually have to go up to the bottom at least. Okay, cool. That looks good. I like the spacing. I think the spacing's really good. It should be, you know, slightly bigger. You can kind of imagine this is the Halo 2 spacing. This is the Halo Infinite spacing. And basically amplify that by the whole map. You know? It's like noticeably bigger, but not bigger that it's going to change the way the map plays by a lot, I hope. All right, we got 1/3 of one wall done. All right, so that looks good there. And then now I need a wall at a 45-degree angle that will, wherever that ends. This triangle I put here was kind of arbitrary. I just lined it up with the edge of this and then put a block there. It may not work out that way. I think it is close, though. Ultimately, I don't know if there's a big impact on it. Whoa, shit. Yeah, dude, I love that. I love shooting through the painting. You're like way behind when I'm saying this, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's cheesy, but yeah, it's one more way to interact, one more thing to do, right? I don't feel like it breaks it. Okay, so now I need a 45-degree angle that lines up with this corner and this corner exactly. So I'll grab this piece, and I want to do there with 135. And how high is this? Actually, it's got to be taller than that one, because you don't see this whole thing, but you see this whole thing. Oh, there's another piece up there. I'll have to figure out how high that is. I need to die. And I need to spawn up there. I feel like I could drive a warthog and a ghost over there and get up there quicker than like spawning up there. But I could kill myself like 100 times and I still wouldn't be up there. Just gonna give it a couple tries just to see if we get lucky. Oh, Merry Christmas, by the way, to everyone. Everyone who celebrates Christmas. Hopefully you guys got everything you were asking Santa for. Okay, we're not getting up there. Yeah, I'll just have to... Next time I get up there, I have to remember to take note of how high that roof is. Like, if I'm able to jump and hit the ceiling, that tells me a good idea of how tall it is. Not immediately necessary for this. Let me move that out of the way. But it is a piece of information I will need to know. I do know it's taller than this. So this is 68.7. This is very confidently going to be at least like 75. If I go down here... At the edge of it right there. Yeah. Just catching up to clean the kitchen. Yeah. No worries, bro. Oh, and the way I have this set, this actually could be pretty easy. So if I magnetize it... Why aren't my magnets turning on? It's because I'm like inside another piece. Probably. I do know this is 610. So then if I go there and there. Hey, look at that. Okay, that's pretty good. And since my origin's on this side, I should be able to just make it wider. And if I'm not completely stupid, since this is a 6x6, I should be able to increase the width of this wall, and it should line up exactly with this corner. I know, bold claims. How wide do we have to make this wall? Pretty wide. 8.5. And that lines up. Oh. Oh. And if I went just a unit bigger? Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. So good. Look at that. Alright, this has to be way taller. Let's call it a nice round 80, 90. And it's not that long. I mean, maybe it will be in my map, but in this one, it's not that big. And then it's basically gonna be the same deal. I get it to go until it lines up with this. 47 exactly. 46.95. It's pretty good. Yeah, you know it's Christmas because you're getting a Forge live stream. Yeah, basically. Ooh, something to keep in mind here. I just had another one of those moments where I like go up here and I go, oh yeah, hey, look at that. That actually looks pretty good. Actually looks like a finished map. All right, so in this one, there's a door. I don't think I'm going to do the... I'm not going to have this weird gap. I'm just going to make this... I'm just going to call this the width. Because I'm changing enough of this that it doesn't make any sense to try to adhere to the dictates of whatever this distance was previously. Because I'm, like I said, I'm changing it. I will go to like there. Oh, that doesn't leave that much room though. Oh, the toll booth does like overlap it a good amount though. If you look. Dude, I did get really excited about how well that lined up. Like, really excited. Those noises were entirely involuntary, so... I think it's okay. The magnets working? No, of course not. Why would they? Yeah, like, yeah, literally right there. Yeah, so if we... What would we have to rotate this to? That's pretty close. That's close enough. I almost don't want to rotate it more, but I do need to. How does it? What does it look anything there? On these, I did a nice little little flourish. Man, what a pain that was. Do I care to give this the same treatment? I think the answer to that's pretty obvious. I can't look at that, I think you mean toll booth, without thinking of the machinima of Dane Cooksbury King bit. Bro, you and I both. I'll always think of like, yeah, Dane Cook going through and ordering like 50 packets of hot sauce. If I do this enough, then I don't have to worry about a trim piece. If I do like that, then it can just go into the ground and I don't think anyone will notice. Ketchup and pickles. Yeah. For sure. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think the same exact thing every time I see it. Or Headlong, the machinima about him getting rear-ended. Ah, dude, that was the golden... We didn't realize what we had. That's good. Now my concern is, where does this line up? I mean, that's pretty good. It comes out more, but I think that's because this is taller now, and the angle is not as steep. So it comes out to like... I think that's fine. I think that's okay. And then what? Is there a wall here? There is a wall here. Yeah. MFC? Are those your initials, MFC? Alright, I need a flat part there. I also need... Oh, I also needed a bit of a... Okay, let me look. Oh yeah, this does not come over to this at all whatsoever. Now maybe it does here. I still don't think it does. Because it lines up basically with the exact... Almost the exact width of the toll booth. So if I go stand on this side, yeah, it basically lines up so that this edge here goes to it there. I think I'm going to give it the same treatment. I don't think I'm going to do a wall there. I think I'm going to do what I just did here. Basically make it a 90 degree. You know what? I'm super dumb. What I could have actually done, I think. Okay, let me see if I can find the piece. It's a design set wall piece. It would have been tough to get it to match this perfectly, but I mean, it might have. This one. That piece right there. I wonder if that would have worked. Probably not. I don't think it would have looked as good. It would have saved like 2 pieces. I'm just going to tell myself that. Yeah, that's what I'll tell myself. Now, how high up does it go on this side? Oh, it doesn't. Interesting. It was like a overhang type thing. So yeah, it doesn't. It only needs to be right here. Those your initials, sir? MFC? Will you magnetize? You will. Look at that. That should match up perfectly there. Oh, yeah. Perfect. And the height. Let's call it. That's good. Dun, 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 dun. That's 661 3783. Yep. Man, I have to go watch that now. It's gonna send me down a whole rabbit hole of watching like old school Halo 2 machinima, like people trying to recreate Red versus Blue and good times, good memories. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this to anyone, but I also added the invisible blockers here because I like the look of this indent. It looks more natural. And you get the nice, like, you're still rendering all the sides of this geometry even though you're not using it. Dude, same thing in MFC printer. I'm the same exact way. I chuckle every single time I see one because of that skit. Yeah, I'm the exact same way. And it's a multi-function center. is what it stands for. But yeah, it's literally, I'm like, monkey. I think the same exact thing. That's so funny. Oh, the office shooting bit. Okay, I'm going to have to go look that up after this. I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the map. Oh, turf. I think it was turf. What are you talking about? Man, this is coming together. It really is. I'm liking this. Thanks for the candy. Yeah. So good. Yeah, this could actually be really simple. All right. And then I want... This needs to be smaller by quite a bit. We'll just go ahead and say 200. Too small. Too big. Dude, it really is. And like, I haven't really listened to, and even a little bit of Dane Cook I have listened to since then, hasn't really impressed me, you know? It was just like this very formative time, you know? I don't know how to describe it, but... What am I doing? Here. No. Here. .6. Ooh, that's close. .7. And then, yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. I like it. So good. You could even just do this piece right now and be done with it. Yeah, see, I knew doing this would be a good exercise because, oh, actually, yeah, this needs to be, like, over here. Why don't you guys say anything? Which means I can make this thing longer. Let's make it wider by 20, so 104. Nope. We'll do 94. Wasn't it 84? Is it really not? Okay, so 88? 4 units bigger? Jeez. $90? That's 6 units bigger. and smaller by 2. Okay, so 90 was the right size. Jeez. That should line up pretty much perfectly. Yeah. Cool. I should be able to just slide this right back in. And it should actually end on a nice round number since it was before. That's great. There's like a little bit there, but you don't feel it at all. I think that's fine. I'll have to make these trim pieces a bit longer, but I think that's okay. Yeah, this is steeper, but I think that's okay because it's steeper than the original one. Definitely comes out further, which narrows the overall play space down here a bit. That flat terrain piece is like so helpful. It's insane. This. We'll say 48 and 48. No, 34. Why does this seem oddly taller? This is 2.8 thick. This is 2.8. This is 2.8. Let's narrow this gap a bit. Hmm. 46.7, 46.7. And that is there. Yeah, I'm really happy with the like painting you can shoot through. I'm happy with a lot of stuff. Like, it's really coming together. It's like you reach this point where you've done enough that you're invested, but you realize there's so much left to go, and you're like, man, why am I doing this with my life? Like, why is this the thing I'm choosing to do? But then you kind of get past that, and you're like, actually, this is really coming together, and it looks awesome. That's why. Ah, it's so good. Like, this image right here, like, this feels like Terminal, you know? Like, it'll go in the same spot, like, It's getting there, for sure. It's close enough. I mentioned this last stream, and even more so now. It's close enough that when I'm playing the Halo 2 version, I'm jumping back and forth a lot. I'll be here, and when I'm about to get on the track, I'm cognizant of the last time a train went by, so I know I have at least like 13 seconds before there's another one, and I'm looking both ways. As soon as I see headlights, then I know I can move out of the way, and I'll be safe on that track for a while. So there we go. I'm safe on this one for a little bit. I catch myself doing that on my map, which of course there's no moving trains. But it's close enough now that it's triggering the same, like, whoa, okay, check for train. You know, it's triggering the same behavioral, like, things. Mostly because I'm just jumping back and forth so much. But every time I cross the tracks... Anyway, I think you know what I mean. Then I gotta do some texture work here. But... I'm happy with this section, too. Ah, so good. Okay. I think I'm going to call it for tonight. Not a particularly long stream tonight, but got a big day tomorrow. I mean, not really, actually, but a lot of Christmas cleanup to do. But hey, look at that. Look at all that part of the garage we got done. And we got this wall in. Looks really good. I'm very happy about that. I won't say exactly how happy I am because then I'll have to demonetize this video. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. If you have suggestions, leave them in the comments. I try to read them all. And yeah, I will be streaming again hopefully as soon as I can. But yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys next time.